me know when you're on. Thank you. Okay. Does anybody need to leave early? I had some others who aren't here that did.
I have to be done by 6.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to leave at 6 also.
All right. Sounds good.
And my camera's not working today, so, but I am here.
Thank you, Carrie. Glad to have you verify that. Just because we have some guests today, I'm going to do like a quick roll call or introduction. How about? Because we have a few guests. So let me go through the board members first. I'm Laura Black, the chair. Raise your hand or something. Larry Corsell is our vice chair. I'm just going to go around. Jessica Van Oort from Paulette. Thank you, Jessica. Danielle Muma and Andrew Palmer are the reps from Rutland Town. Carrie Ellis, Bling Bling, that's her from West Haven. Mike Small is the rep from Sudbury. Leslie Cadwell, our rep from Castleton. Lynn Bowman is our rep from Benson. Chris Custer, I can't forget you, Chris, is our rep from Hubbardton. Chris is also our website manager. Thank you, Chris, as always. And we have, I think that's all of our board members. Yes, so we have two guests. Oh, well, let me introduce Devin Neary is our host for our physical location and our soon to become partner in administrative duties and such. So he's there in the big conference room. Thank you, Devin. If anyone wants to meet in person, you can always head down to the Rutland Regional Planning Commission offices. So, and we have a guest today, Bob Amelang, who is a longtime friend of mine. His wife's a longer time. Anyway, we go back. We like to chat about electric stuff. He's interested in representing City of Rutland. I'm not sure where the city is at, so they're in committee on whether they're going to remain a member. Hopefully they will, and with Bob representing the city. And the other guest is Jose Aguayo, if I said that right. Yes, Jose's a member of VCBB. Do you want to say anything about yourself? Oh, and I forgot. Well, go ahead, and then I'll introduce Caleb. I forgot you, Caleb.
Sure. My name is Jose Aguayo, and I am with the VCBB. I am the Rural Broadband Technical Assistance Specialist, which is in my role. The role is to support the CUDs in various things. So I'm here just to listen, and thank you for having me.
Thank you, Jose. And last but not least, I left out Caleb Boone, who's our consultant from a company named Vantage Point. There's another word at the end of that. Caleb helps us. He's been our administrator of our all of our grant reporting and submittals and so on. He's been an invaluable person to us. Anyway, okay, let's get rolling. Sooner we get rolling, sooner we get done, and we can continue chatting about other things. So public input, any of you guys from the public want to speak? Nope, I will keep going then. Previous meeting minutes from January 15th, 2025. I can present these, or if everyone has taken a look at the minutes, you've had a chance to review them, ask questions or need for changes, or I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of January 15th, 2025.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of January 15th, 2025 as presented.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you. I think I have a tie there between Lynn and Chris.
I was faster.
Understood.
No fight. All in favor to approve the minutes as written,
Aye.
January
Aye.
15th?
Aye.
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 You. Any opposed? No.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, chair report. I apologize. I should have said, oh, I'm sorry. I did not approve the agenda. Let me go back to item 3. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda? However, I'm going to make a change on the agenda in that the second bullet point in my chair report, which is the bylaw amendment and financial procedure policy amendment, I'm striking that, and I'll describe why after later. We don't have it prepared. So are there any other changes needed for the agenda, or can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Also move.
Thank you, Lynn. I think that was
Second.
second. Second,
Danielle
Dan.
seconds.
Thank you. All in favor to approve the agenda? Say aye.
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 Okay. All right, now public input. I already know. Previous meeting minutes. I have that motion by Larry, second by Lynn and Chris, all was approved. Sorry about out of order there. Okay, now we're on to chair report. So the first item on the chair report is the memorandum of agreement. This is on the proposed services that we want to start with Rutland Regional Planning Commission for 2025. We'll talk about it moving on to 2026, but we do have it drafted. I sent you a draft. However, the draft I'm going to present is slightly different, not very much, but one member called me and asked a question, had a good point. I made the slight change, which I will show you. Okay. How do I present? in more? Devin, how do I present?
Yep, if you, to the top of the screen next to the leave button, there's a share arrow.
Oh, the share. Okay. All right. Hold on, because I just seem to have closed the, there it is. Okay. Share. Share. Window. Oh, got it. Beautiful. Perfecto. Oops. Okay, my screen is funny, but you guys can see this?
Yes.
Okay. Yep.
Yes.
Okay, great. Let me just move it up on my screen so I can see it. Okay, so this version, I don't have the comments open. I don't think they're necessary. I'm not sure I'll read through entirely the whole thing. So I'll just quickly review, jump in if you have questions. So parties are Rutland Regional Planning Commission, I think you know, and the other party is us, Otter Creek Communication Union District. Purposes is to provide administrative, financial, and logistical support services, such as hosting our meeting. We want to relieve our treasurer of her financial duties. Actually, Rutland Regional has been doing stuff like checking our mailbox, which we never get any, but they've been doing that for a few years, a year or 2 years, I think. Describes our organization. We want to make sure that we are two distinct organizations. We're not merging or in any case, in any thought of the word. So the services, we are intending to reimburse and pay Rutland Regional for their services. They will need to follow all of the terms of our grant agreement. So they're going to host a physical location. They're going to post our meeting agendas at at the Rutland Regional Planning Commission location. They're going to host the Teams meeting for our governing board, so our virtual site. They will also post the recording, which it has been being posted on a YouTube channel. So the link is available both on our website or on our website. It goes to their YouTube channel. Schedule, blah, blah, blah. As you guys know, we're only meeting quarterly now. Otter Creek is going to maintain our PO box in Rutland. So the Rutland Regional Planning Commission will take on the role of the OCCUD treasurer. By statute, we have to appoint the treasurer. And so a staff member of our RPC will be the treasurer. They will be named and appointed by the OCCUD. The reason this isn't final is because we are still in the middle of working out all of the details. For example, Rutland Regional's financial manager, whose name is Mary Kay Scanza, might have that wrong, not quite right. She met with Caleb and Jackie, our treasurer, just on Monday, I think. So, we're in the midst of just working out the details. But we're coming up with some very, I think, even better financial policies than we've had. For example, we're going to have 2 check signers now. Devin Neary, who's the executive director of Rutland Regional, will be one of our check signers. And Larry Corsell, our vice chair, will be the other check signer. That just worked out because Larry is the secondary check signer for Rutland Regional Planning Commission. So that just will work out very easily. Okay, so Rutland Regional will prepare the warrants from the invoices. We only get 4 or 5 a month. They will be preparing the checks. At this time, we'll still have Caleb from Vantage Point submit the warrants to VCBB for reimbursement. We may switch that in the future, but we're not quite ready yet. Anyway, this item 10 says that Rutland Regional will meet with Jackie, our current treasurer, to define the scope of the items that we just described. We've even spoken with our bookkeeper, Seward's associate. I'm not sure if Mary Kay has had a chance to talk to them yet. So she had a couple of questions like, are we on a cash or accrual system and what that means and so on. One thing that Rutland Regional is not going to do right now, they're not going to be involved in our audit of 2024. And I forget where we are, whether they may or may not be involved in the audit for 2025. I think, yeah, they would have to be. So, but the language addressing that is probably not quite here yet. That's what I mean. We're just like close to having things ironed out. They offered to assist in the annual reappointments. As you know, that I find that a tough process to go through. I can always have some help. Thanks. Next, let's see. These are just describing what Otter Creek has to provide to Rutland Regional. Okay, I'm still making up the agendas, so I will be sending them to Devin Neary or whoever at Rutland Regional to post and so on. We will pay and reimburse Rutland Regional. We will still maintain our executive committees that will make recommendations. Our board will still have to make all of the final decisions. And yeah, compliance and reporting of grant awards will be through our consultant, Vantage Point, as I mentioned. But fees, each party, blah, blah, blah. Nothing really different there. Term and termination. Just saying the term effective date, continue until we end. Great. Independent entities, just maintaining independence. Employee staff. I think actually, I thought we deleted that where it says at no time will OCCUD's employees, staff, and volunteer, because we don't have employees and staff. We have volunteers and associates. So I thought that I had deleted that. So I'll make sure to check on that. Oh, here's where, yeah, I got it in a third, the next sentence, but I missed it in that first sentence. So let me add representatives. There's always one more thing. Okay. Amendment. This amendment may be modified in amendment. Of course, we'd have to go back to the board for any amendments. Applicable laws governed under laws of the state of Vermont. Here's where I put in the required contract provisions funded by the state of Vermont and federal grants, and as such, Rutland Regional will have to comply with the contract terms of our grants. And we will attach, we talked about this last night, attached. So I sent those to Mary Kay, but we haven't actually attached them. So, but we do need the language inserted that says attached. I just put in, I'll put it in bold. Okay, successors and assigns, counterparts, indemnification, execution, and that's it. Nothing signed yet. So questions, discussion? Speak out. I actually can't see your hands. And otherwise, what I am asking for at this time is a motion to allow the chair to go ahead and finalize this memorandum of agreement and sign it on behalf of the board. We think we'd be ready to have this finished up, maybe tomorrow, Monday, whenever Mary Kay and Devin have a chance to just clean it up. And Mary Kay wants a little more time, I think, to ask a couple financial questions.
I'll move to allow the chair to wrap up or finalize the agreement, provided that the final agreement is substantially similar to what was shared with us tonight. And I thank the chair for all the work.
Thank you, and I appreciate that language is substantially. That will be in our minutes. I will reflect that. Is there a second to Leslie's motion?
Second, Larry.
Second, Larry. And very good. Any more discussion, questions? All in favor to accept the motion made by Leslie and seconded by Larry, please say aye.
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 Thank you. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thanks so much. All right, moving on. Next order of business is our single audit letter of engagement. Okay, I have to, how do I do this? Sorry, kind of new on all of the, stop sharing. I'll do that. And then share the auditing. Okay. I hope everyone's read this word for word. Ugh. Hey, Mark.
Hello.
Good to see you.
So I'm
Hey,
late.
good to see you.
I didn't realize. I'm
Glad
getting
to
late.
see you. Fine. All right. So our auditor for our single audit is ready to go. Let me just give you a quick briefing on what the interaction has been. The auditor is Batchelder Associates. Actually, Bonnie Batchelder is handling our audit, or at least the paperwork. I'm not sure what goes on. I know they have staff, so it's not a one-man show. She has sent this letter of engagement, which describes the scope. It's a 6-page, well, it's 5 pages. The 6th page is just signatures. I have read through it. I don't purport to be a specialist or have a lot of experience with auditing, but it seems straightforward and fine with me. She has also sent some other documents which ask questions about our organization. And Caleb is actually working on those. We have to submit those. And then the other thing that I've already gone ahead with, actually, is that she's asked for our minutes for 2024, both of the executive committee and the governing board. Drawing a blank. Our minutes, our grant agreement, and our contract with Consolidated. So they have an upload site, and I've just pulled all that stuff together. All of that stuff all of those documents are available to you guys. I pulled them right off of our members folder. So Larry and I actually, full disclosure, we did pre-sign this because we were both in the office yesterday. So we'll have to scrap our signatures if you say that you don't want to go forward with this. As you know, we have to do a single audit. Essentially, Batchelder was, I think you know the background. At our last meeting, yes, Batchelder ended up being the only response to the only complete response to our RFQ that sent a proposal, and their price was within our budget. So their price is in here. I'm not going to read through this. I'm hoping that you guys took a look at it, but please ask questions and I'll do my best to answer. And otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to approve the chair and vice chair signing this letter of engagement.
I'll move that the chair and vice chair sign this letter. Jessica.
Sounds like you, Jessica. Thank you, Jessica.
I'll second. This is Lynn.
Thank you, Lynn. Second. All in favor to move forward with our letter of engagement with our auditor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Silence is golden. Awesome. All right, let's get down to the fun stuff. Stop sharing. Okay, those were our main orders of business. Thank you so much. And let's keep going just with, we have some great information. So Mark asked the excellent question when we were talking at our last meeting about what are our responsibilities.
Yes.
Now that our build out is completed, woohoo, which we're happy about. And Leslie drafted, I worked with Leslie a bit and put together a draft of our OCCUD responsibilities. I think I have them here and I'll present them and we can chat through them. Questions? Actually, I did not open this ahead of time. Hold on a second. I just got to find it. If anyone has a comment, here it is. There it is. Okay. Any comments, please go ahead. This is really meant to be a discussion and for our knowledge. Review, here it is. All right. Now, everyone can see that?
Yep.
All right. So, reporting, our post-closeout reports. I can ask Caleb to speak further to these because Caleb has been, he's the one that puts together our post-closeout reports. And Jose, I'm not sure if you specifically are reviewing them, but we're in process of getting our closeout report submitted. I was in a meeting with the VCBB with one of their staff members and a staff from Consolidated, where they were reconciling our lists of addresses. It was, really a database issue that they were just working on to satisfy the commitments and to make sure that their data agreed. So that's kind of the down to the nitty gritty things that folks are working on. So, but the first closeout report, I think, is this first one, is the 6-month one. And then we'll have a second one due a year later, or in another 6 months. So, in an annual report, this is something that's required by statute. I put this together. I think the last 2 of them I put together, the one for 2024 and the one for 2023. Previous to that, actually the project manager from Rutland Regional put one together. Caleb wrote one. For Vantage Point wrote one. Maybe you did the one in 2023. I'm not sure I even remember. Anyway, you guys may or may not remember them. They are posted on our website. It's usually just a description of what we've done through the year, and it describes our budget for the upcoming year. It has a date of October 21st. I think I was actually late on that by a couple of days. Don't tell anyone. Audits. So here's our requirement for a single audit every year, that we expend more than $750,000, which only happened in 2024. Actually, the federal limit has gone up to $1 million. So whether it's at 750 or $1 million for 2025, I think we will not need to do another single audit. I think, but, we'll see. We do find that the statute says that we're supposed to do an audit annually. It's interesting because, Leslie, I didn't tell you this, but I found in the grant doesn't require the audit, neither the pre-construction nor the construction. It only wants one if a single audit is required, and otherwise the grant says that they're fine with just the annual report. But it is, the statute language is there. I guess we've been in violation some years because we haven't done it. I am wondering, and because after this year, our annual expenses are going to be very low. So it's gonna, I don't know. I think it's unfortunate that the statute says that an audit is required. It's like we'll spend as much on an audit as we will spend in the entire year. Kind of crazy. But we should plan for an audit for 2025 to comply with statute. Budget. This goes back to the annual report. This is the same budget. We usually put it together like September, October. Then we have to submit it in October.
I know. I just found out about this meeting. I just found out about this
Record retention. Yes, 5 years. So we had a little discussion about that. So monitoring our contract partner compliance. These are per our contract with Consolidated that they have to provide their reports on their speed and latency testing. They have to provide those to us on a quarterly basis per contract, and that is for 20 years after our project construction completion, actually. We have an agreement with GoNet Speed for kind of similar reporting. They also have to report on performance and customer satisfaction. Some of these they have to report as well, I think, don't test me on it, to state of Vermont and like to FCC, but not everything, I think. Some of it is quite proprietary. For example, Net Promoter Score is very proprietary information that will be something that at our annual meeting, I want to discuss our non-disclosure agreements that we have to abide by as board members with our contracted partners. So things like that are, for our eyes only. We'll talk about it at our annual meeting. Got it on the agenda. Let's see, annual GoNet Speed has to do an annual customer satisfaction survey, same NPS. More performance according per the contract. Let's see. These are more requirements per our contract. Consolidated provides an annual summary of products and services offered in the prior year. So because we just have finished, some of these, we haven't even seen our first report. And I have talked to Consolidated and GoNet. I talked to Consolidated recently, GoNet Speed a little while ago. So their reports are due, they think we'll get them mid-April. So our first report. So that'll be great. We can take a look at it together at our May meeting. As you know, I and Larry meet regularly with Consolidated, and any other members, if you'd like to join any of those meetings, you're welcome to. I even forget now, are we meeting monthly or quarterly now? I can't keep it straight. I'll have to look back at my schedule.
Once a month.
Once a month? Okay. Yeah, so quarterly service review, but outages, planned, unplanned maintenance, other criteria. So that's our responsibility, is to review these reports from our partner provider, make sure they fall within appropriate guidelines. The other major thing is our sustainability plan, which as a contingency of our grant awards, we had to present a sustainability plan that described how we were going to exist in the long term. And if you all remember, one thing we did was to partner with the other Consolidated CUDs to develop a sustainability plan. And so, we met with Lamoille CUD and Southern Vermont CUD, and we developed an agreement.
I will shut the door.
And Mark, put your mute on. So we put together an agreement, we put together a budget, and we went out and got funding from our partner Consolidated to fund our existence beyond what our grant, pre-construction grant will fund us for. Our pre-construction grant will fund us through 2020, I think I'm losing my mind, 2026, right? 25, 26. Yeah. So beyond that, Consolidated is going to fund us. Oh, the reason that we thought it would be the right thing to not necessarily merge, we're not quite sure what our arrangement will be, but to partner with the other CUDs is so that we can share resources and reduce our costs even further. So I don't know if we'll maintain our own website, for example, maybe we'll just have one website. I don't know if we will do that. For example, maybe our financial services, maybe we will merge those. So we're not each paying for an audit and maybe treasuring, so on. These are unknown. It's something we do need to work on in 2025 and 2026. So, and as of yet, I have joined the sustainability group. There's been a couple members from each of the CUDs. Larry has been on. There's room for more. I'd say if one more person would like to join and meet together. Don't think there'll be very often. But to meet with the sustainability group, we'll make a name for ourselves to work out our plans for the upcoming year. So in our regular ongoing operations, I just listed a few things: maintain the website, holding our meetings, and so on, reviewing our financial records, we have to working with the Rutland Regional. One of the main things that I think we're in existence for is to assist our customers and potential customers in our district with challenges. I would say we get at least a couple, between 2 and as many as 5, but usually between 2 and 4 emails a month with customers who have concerns or issues. They may have a line that's fallen down. They may not understand what their options are if they have a long drop. I've got more news on that. They may have just gotten lost during a service, installation. Occasionally that happens, believe it or not, with any company. Certainly has happened with both Consolidated and GoNetSpeed, where their different departments kind of lost track of a customer because, one employee walked away at the wrong time and whatever. We do have contacts and we can jump on and make things happen and get communications going quickly. We found that works out just great for all of our constituents. I'm really happy that we're able to provide that service. I want to continue somehow being more public so that our constituents can use us for that service. Again, I wrote up another brief item to put on Front Porch Forum, so hopefully that might help. I see a hand up. Yes.
My apologies, Laura, if I miss it, Chair. But are we informed of how many times, with the exception of what you just mentioned, how many times a customer has actually gone to CCI or GoNetSpeed? Do we get reports on that where they actually get lost in the shuffle or whatever the issue may be, and why they're actually reaching out to us?
We know if they contact us. We don't know if they contact the Public Service Board department.
I'm not even referring to the Public Service Board, but if they're actually reaching out to CCI or GoNetSpeed, if we're talking about lessening our website, for example, because I think that would be pertinent information if the customers are not doing what is suggested to them, or if they are and we're finding out that they're not being responded to, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Right, right. Yeah. So you're asking if we're getting information of when they're reaching out with a problem.
Yeah, and when they've directly contacted CCI or GoNetSpeed with, installation, connection, and how many times they've done it.
Yeah.
And if they have, let's say there's 5 out of 10 people that have directly reached out to them, and 4 of them get lost in the shuffle. I think that's important information for us to know as a board, so that we can address that if necessary. That is one of our concerns, that they're not holding up their end of the bargain.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure how they would count that, but let me try to ask that question of both
Okay.
of them at speed. Because it kind of, if a customer is reaching out to one of the providers to ask for service, it's like good, and the interaction happens, and the company shows up at the time they're supposed to. I'm not sure I want a report of that, but
I totally agree with you. I'm just referring to incidences, because I also know that people will also contact, for anyone who's on here who just knows people in the area and knows what we're involved with. They could potentially just come to us, period, instead of going this step. But I'm just wondering, if we can get a report on how many people have actually reached out to the provider,
right,
haven't gone anywhere, and what their experience has been. I mean, because in your report you talk about the experience, but knowing exactly if like I said, if 5 out of 10 people have reached out and only 4 get lost, but why?
Right.
Where can we ask for improvements, I guess, is what I'm asking
exactly.
for.
Right. Now, in the service offerings and reporting, the quarterly service review, it does include that. I mean, we took this word for word out of our contract. So,
Okay.
including customer service calls. So, it's going to be easiest, I think, to get our first report and review that and see if it's showing us that kind of data. But I'm noting it, and I'll bring it up at the next
And I agree. The first report will definitely help me understand whether or not, if we need to ask for improvements.
Exactly.
I haven't had a poor experience with CCI. I was a Fidium member before I joined the board, but I have been working diligently with somebody else I know around the city, why he doesn't have it yet. And the last time I saw him, he's like, "Oh, we've been going back and forth. And I'm like, "Why are you going back and forth?" And it's a business. I mean, so that's a good deal for Fidium and us, so I want to figure out where those loopholes are and what's happening, so that we can better instruct anybody and feed them the information that they need to help the process move along, I guess. And I apologize if I'm over talking.
No, that's fine. And I just want to mention, though, that what has worked is for the customer to contact us. They can do through our website or whatever, info@occud.org. And I immediately contact our contacts at Consolidated, and those have turned around like immediately and gone really well, because we track it, keep in touch, go back to them. Jessica.
Yeah. I guess my question was about if somebody from our town contacts us with a problem, like rather than contacting through the website, do we as individual members then get in touch with Fidium, or do we get in touch with you, Laura? Or what? Because also our town has still never got our drop that was the one we're supposed to get for the town. And I don't know if it's Scott Brooks I'm still supposed to talk to, or if we got a different person now.
Sounds good. Let me answer the first. It's kind of up to you. If you guys as representative want to be engaged and want to handle the calls, that's fine with me. I have 2 people Scott Brooks, we're not sure. He's been like not as responsive. I'm not sure what's going on with him.
Yeah, that's why,
Right.
because I
But-
contacted him last fall about it and he never got back with me.
Right, right. And it seemed like he was on. And anyway, I'm working. Yeah, Larry and I are both just recently kind of getting back to that. But our other two contacts, Sarah Davies and Brian Lim, those guys get back to us immediately, and that works really well. I don't know. I'm open. It's not that many calls. I'm happy to handle them. If you want to refer them to me, either the chair or the info, or if you want to handle them, and I'll help you get in touch with Brian and Sarah.
Yeah, I think I'd
Yeah.
like to handle them if possible. So
That
I
sounds
would love if you could help me get in touch with Brian and Sarah, both about that and about our town's
Yeah.
free one. Thank you.
absolutely will do. All right. Shoot me an email if I don't follow up with you on that.
And on that, if anyone handles it themselves, copy Laura on your emails.
Good idea, Larry. All right. There's still a hand up, but I think it's you, Danielle. I don't know if you had another question or comment. I hear silence. You may be muted.
Yeah, no, my mouse pad is at work. So I'm having a hard time moving my mouse. And I didn't know I had to turn it off in Teams. My apologies. I'll turn it off. Thank you.
Okay, so the last item is number 5, is participating in statewide CUD organizations. So I don't know if any of you, I occasionally do jump on the VCUDA board. Sometimes I just take a look at their meetings. Oh, sorry, VCUDA. I was thinking VCBB. So that is, yeah, keeping up with what's on VCBB's schedule and what issues they're in the middle of. I will say the biggest one for them is BEAD, because I'm not even sure of the right language, submittals and so on for BEAD are due very soon. So everyone's working hard on those, including our partners Consolidated. Larry and I participate in VCUDA. Larry participates at the VCUDA board. I have been, and I was there today, participating at the legislative committee. I'm often listening in. Many of the other VCUDA folks are executive directors with long career history, backgrounds in telecommunications, much more engaged than I am, and they have they're in the middle of their BEAD allocations and in working on their funding issues and their build out issues, where, as you know, we're in a different slot there. We're kind of done, but it's really good to know what the issues are, and they relate very much to the national issues going on these days. So it's interesting, and it's what we do, and I try to keep you guys updated as the chair. Okay, any further questions about this? I think it was a really good exercise to put this together. I can't remember if I put it on our drive, but I will put it on our members folder on our drive. Okay, I'm going to move on. Next bullet item is representatives and annual appointments. So thank you, Jessica. You just got yours in. I'm still missing quite a few appointments, but they're really due. It's the last Monday in April. But if you all could get them in, please do. If I don't see them, in another couple of weeks, I'll probably be reaching out to you directly by emails, because then I have to find your select board person to get your appointment form signed and submitted. So appreciate getting those in. The other thing that has occurred is that as you know, I think that we talked about at last meetings, we have a number of towns whose representatives have just stopped showing up. I've contacted those towns. Right now, 2 of those towns have withdrawn as members. That does allow us to have a quorum much more easily. I think we just made quorum tonight. No, we're actually 1 over on quorum. Thank you guys for showing up. Really great to have representatives participating. Jessica, you're just describing the reason because you can be a contact person for your town. You can be engaged and know what's going on for broadband service to the people in your town. You can keep your select board informed. I know you are a select board, Jessica, and I can't remember if others are. So greatly important, but if your town can't provide a representative, I'm going to ask them to withdraw until they can. And one thing I'd like to do though is I don't want to lose track of these members. You know, there's certainly their constituents are still being served. I think we may just call them district towns. We could call them previous members. I don't know. I would still send them an annual report. Maybe I'd ask the select board if I can send meeting minutes or agendas to some, maybe not. I'm not sure. As we were talking before the meeting, it's really hard to volunteer, and it's hard to get volunteers. If anyone has any words of wisdom on that, I'm up for it. So that's the update on that. I'll keep moving on. Financials. Does anyone want to see the warrants? I can tell you what they are, or I can present them. There were 2 warrants. The one in February was for $4,942. It was for a front porch forum, our 6-month subscription, our website maintenance, our Vantage Point project management, our Google Workspace, our bookkeeping services with Seward's Associates. And our March warrant was for $4,672.04, and that was again for website maintenance, project management with Vantage Point, Google Workspace, and Seward Associates bookkeeping services. No surprises there. Okay, moving on. Caleb, do you want to tell us anything about grant reports? I have that on the agenda.
Yeah, there isn't much going on right now, and I know with the transition to the new portal, and Jose knows just as well as anyone here, but the pre-construction monthly reports, those aren't available yet on the portal, so it's primarily just the quarterly reports for the construction grant. And I know one of the questions we had Laura with Consolidated was if those will still be required with construction being fully completed, since the quarterly reports will essentially have no update on them. So that's a question we have pending. And I'm not sure, Jose, if you have any thought on that, or if we still report quarterly even with no updates with the full build being complete.
I'd defer to Christina on that, but
Sure.
I know that we some people who are doing monthlies went to quarterlies, so but
yeah,
I'll check.
So no, appreciate it. But outside of that, Laura, it's essentially just the big thing right now is the audit. So that's what we're really working on right now.
Sounds good. Thank you, Caleb. GoNet Speed update. I don't have any updates with them. I meet with them, I think, next week. Consolidated update. I have a big news update. Well, actually, I have a little news update on GoNet Speed. It's not really so public, but I don't know. They didn't seem to mind. They are, they'll do a 750 foot for their long drop. They're carrying a 1,000 foot cable, and they're going ahead and installing that if customers have as long as a 1,000 foot underground service drop required. So at no charge. Consolidated's news is, and this is public now, and Jose, I need to get this to Rob Fish, although he probably knows it already because it came from Lamoille as well. Their underground service drop is now going to be up to 2,000 feet. So they're carrying cable. I think they have a variety of sizes, same that GoNet Speed does, but they're going to install up to 2,000 feet. So that is very good news. I did have a email from a constituent in Poultney, I think. They were in Poultney, pretty sure, with an 800 foot. And as you know, Consolidated's previous length was 500 feet. So that was going to be unfortunate. They were going to have to pay for installing a long conduit. But now, hooray! They won't have to pay anything. Consolidated will install them for their whole distance. Okay, and as I said, the report, I will get both of the reports in mid-April.
All right, and I told Rob that today. I mentioned that to Rob today. Yeah, so
Thank
I told him.
Yeah. All right.
He thought they had gone to 1,000. I said no, they went to 2,000. So.
2,000, yeah.
But you were mentioning the 1,000 for GoNet Speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
everybody, I guess everybody's.
But they were.
It's great. It's
yeah.
I mean, there's tremendous people who are out there who would have had to pay, who couldn't really afford paying for a long drop. So
I think it speaks very much to I say the technology, but it's the equipment, the equipment that digs the trenches, and the development of the interduct cables that are now, I think they're more readily made and available. I don't know if their prices has come down, but it seems to be kind of the way to go. Okay, Vacuda update. Larry, you want to give a Vacuda, and I'll do the legislative?
Okay, we met Tuesday, March 18th, and we had a full 1-hour meeting. We discussed a discussion we had with BCBB regarding Act 71. Our meeting schedules now are set, and so we meet the third Tuesday of each month at 9 a.m. In the chair's report, our chair is Ellie DeVillers. She thanked the staff of both Vacuda and the VCB for their hard work regarding the massive uncertainty that's coming out of our nation's capital. So there's a nervous eye looking that way. In the report from Lamoille Fiber, they still have long drops to do, and they expect to be done by this fall. And they're a partner provider with Consolidated, or fitting fiber internet. And so in the legislature, they're going to be talking about permitting support, the BEAD completion process, and also going to the legislature about affordability. CUDs, it's hard for them, the ones that are building out their own fiber, it's hard for them addressing that affordability, and because they have to make a profit. So they'll be looking to see if the legislature can pick up the affordability part of it. We'll see how that goes. And we still had a discussion ongoing about the $8 million revolving loan fund. So that's still going on, developing a program for that. And I guess that's it for VCUDA.
Thank you, Larry.
Yeah.
Okay, I sat in on the legislative meeting of VCUDA today, and it really revolved around BEAD, but so this isn't really something that pertains to our CUD, thankfully, although it kind of pertains in a statewide and certainly nationwide context. Again, as Larry mentioned, there's a concern about the BEAD funding in two senses. One in the speed that it hopefully continues to flow, and the other is in the change of allowable technology. As you have probably seen in the news, they've dropped the technology requirement for wired broadband. So it sounds like it would require states to allow low orbit satellite, and there's a concern that all of the funding could go to the Starlink owner. And one thing that was brought up that was of interest and has been an issue and has been discussed at the Vermont level of it's the Energy and Telecommunications Committee, I think, is that public safety in our state, and I think all states, require wired. Definitely, it's a requirement in Vermont, and that yeah, and the concern is that our copper infrastructure in Vermont is failing. And we are, as a state, really in need of the copper infrastructure. So it's not only just our constituents that are getting wired, but it's the build of a wired infrastructure throughout the state to maintain public safety, I think is really important. So the VCUDA legislative group is really mobilizing to speak to the state on that level, but then thinking of ways to speak, to be a voice nationally through our governor and the Governors Association, and maybe to collaborate with other groups in other states. Interestingly, it was kind of mentioned, and we should think of ourselves. Vermont has really been a leader in the what is it, $45 billion was allocated for broadband build out in the US. And I think our BEAD amount is 229 million or something. I'm probably off on the numbers, whatever. But Vermont has, had this truly successful program with developing CUDs to actually implement, and even CUDs who chose and were able to, I think we're really lucky to be able to choose like a wire extension method of delivering broadband that we and Southern Vermont and Lamoille chose. And, we got to be wahoo finished near, well, Lamoille has a little more to do. And I won't leave EC Fiber out. EC Fiber was the leader in developing the CUD method, and huge congratulations. Anyway, so they just said that they felt like the Vermont contingent is actually an important voice to speak up nationally. Well, that's all I've got on that. VCBB update. I know one thing that happened at the VCBB meeting was that Terry Dorsey, who's the chair of the Southern Vermont CUD, presented, and I don't know how it's final. His final Southern Vermont's final closeout. And so that was approved and accepted at the last board meeting. So that was terrific. I have to go to the recording because I actually missed half of his presentation. Jose, do you want to, is there anything else you want to mention that's a burning issue of great interest?
Not in terms of VCVB, but I will mention that the two pieces of legislation that were in Montpelier didn't cross over, when so they're open for next year and they can still take testimony and they'll be taking some testimony, but it won't be until next year. So the issue of affordability and, several of these things that are being looked at in two pieces of legislation.
Yep.
And that's
consumer.
Oh, the other thing is that you mentioned the issue of having fixed wire, or having for safety issues. It's also lately, I don't know if but you probably know it's Consolidated has been replacing. It's been actually pretty active in trying to now convert all their copper infrastructure. So
I had heard that. I didn't know how public it was, so that's good to hear. Thank you for that.
My understanding.
Yep. I'm not sure how they're rolling that out, but yeah, they are getting going on that, which is interesting. After they just changed their ownership, and maybe that is working out. But
and the other thing I should mention is that and I won't speak too much to the B because there's like a division between I don't get involved in the law, but I can tell you that nothing has happened yet. We're still, it's an ongoing process for us. Nevertheless, of course, you've read what has been said publicly. So, any moment they move so fast. The news and the decisions get taken, and then get taken to court. So we'll see if something occurs in the next few days. But for now, we are just working on our program and trying to deliver and trying to, follow our mission. So, but yes, there's a lot of chaos out there.
Yes, there is. Like we don't need it. Goodness. All right. Well, everybody, I don't have other business. Does anyone else have other business to bring up? Our next meeting is our annual organizational meeting on May 21st. We will be taking nominations for our officers. So keep that in mind. I'll just mention, I haven't brought it up. Since Eleanor retired, I just continued with the clerk duty. It's been pretty easy for me. I don't really mind doing it. If someone wants to step up and do it, fine. But now that we're down to just 4 meetings a year, it's even less. Woohoo! So I just wanted to remind us that we're supposed to have a clerk by statute. I don't think it's a problem to have both the chair also be the clerk or vice chair or whatever. So keep that in mind, but we'll deal with it in May. That's all I've got, unless anyone has anything else. And I entertain a motion to adjourn. Very nice, 6:11.
Second. Thank you, Chair.
Daniel, who was the motion?
You were the motion. I'm sorry, I motioned.
Make a motion. I'm at Robert's Rules of Orders. Danielle, do you want to make the motion then?
I would like to make the motion.
Thanks, Danielle. So I have a second to adjourn. A second.
Yep.
No.
Chris.
Hi, Chris. Thanks. All right. All in favor to adjourn, which I know you don't actually really have to take a vote. You can just adjourn. But
Aye.
Ciao. Okay, I've got some follow-ups to do, but see you in May and talk to anyone soon.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.